Today, I'm in the mood for some abstract photography. Dare I say fine art? I'm thinking close-in, detailed shots. I'm thinking patterns and shapes and textures. I'm thinking moving water, maybe long exposures, and possibly even some black and white. Yeah, I'm in the mood for some abstract today. I hope you'll enjoy this video. If you do and you're not already a subscriber, then please consider hitting subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. Okay, so I am here on this rocky channel which is part of the Vinalopó River. We're downstream from Elche Dam, which is why this area is mostly dry with just a small river running through. But just looking at the ground here, you can see how it's been shaped and eroded by the water that probably sat through here for hundreds of years before the dam was built. Now what I'm thinking of shooting is some scenes around this waterfall, but not the whole waterfall. What I'm thinking of doing is getting the long lens out, zooming in on specific details and basically trying to pick those details out, probably going for some longer exposures just to blur the water. And I might play around with anything from half a second to 30 seconds just to see what effect it has. I said I might do some black and white, but there is some gorgeous green colours in all the algae or whatever it is growing on some of these rocks. So maybe colour is the way to go. So in these images, this is not about having a sense of the place, it's just about getting into that detail and creating that abstract, fine art if you like, type of image, which could have been shot absolutely anywhere, because it's just about the detail, and it probably won't have any sense of scale or anything to it either. It could be a very tiny area, it could be a huge area. You won't know from looking at the image if I get it right. So my approach on this is I'm going to get the camera out, I'm going to get the 70-200 lens out, and I'm just going to have a look at the scene, looking at details through the camera and just see what jumps out at me that might make for an interesting image or two. That's a good way to find compositions in this kind of scenario. Okay, so the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed I have a new L bracket on my camera. It's a bright orange L bracket. And you may be wondering, why have I bought a new L bracket and what was wrong with the old one? And the answer is, I haven't bought a new L bracket and there was nothing wrong with the old one. But I do want to take a few minutes during the course of this video to tell you about what I would consider to be a really superb piece of customer service I've just experienced from Three-Legged Thing. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you may remember that I bought a new tripod about 6 months ago. I bought the Brian tripod, which is part of the Punks range from a company called Three-Legged Thing. Now I did a review on that tripod after I'd been using it for a few weeks, so if you're interested in finding out more about that, I'll stick a link to that up there now. Now I didn't intend to really talk any more about the tripod for, potentially until next spring when I've been using it for a year and maybe do a 1-year review. But what actually happened was, about a week ago, I noticed that the little sort of plasticky rubber grip on the pan control on the ball head was split, and sure enough later that day it actually came off completely. Now this didn't actually affect the operation of the tripod, I could still use it, and to be honest, unless I was shooting in very wet conditions or cold conditions where I had thick gloves on, it probably would have been fine. But nevertheless, after 6 months I didn't think it should have failed, so I thought I'd drop an email to Three Legged Thing and see what they have to say about it. So I sent them an email and I got like the canned response you always get: we've received your inquiry and we aim to get back to you within 48 hours. So I sat back to wait. Well, I didn't sit back, but you know what I mean. And about 20 minutes later I got an email back from Three Legged Thing from a guy called Neil, who said, absolutely, we can sort that out for you. We'll send you not a new grip, not a new knob, a new head. They sent me a brand new head free of charge to replace the one that had this fairly small fault. And if that wasn't good enough, they then said to apologise for the inconvenience, we will also send you free of charge one of our, I think it's a QR11 L bracket, which I have to say I didn't really need, but it is actually better than the one that I had on the camera before, because the one I had before was actually a tiny bit small for this camera. I bought it for the D7100. So absolutely delighted with my new L bracket. I'm delighted I've got a new head for the tripod, and I have to say absolutely delighted with Three Legged Thing's customer service. This kind of customer service is what gets companies customer retention, and I have to say, when the time comes to look for a new tripod, whether I need something different or whether I want something, you know, because after a few years my Brian tripod is worn out, you can bet I'm going to be going to Three Legged Thing as my first port of call. Superb customer service. I have to say, big thumbs up to Three Legged Thing, big thumbs up to Neil, who dealt with the problem, and I've got a new L bracket and a new tripod head. Can't say any better than that. Anyway, I better get on and start looking at some pictures, but I thought I'd mention that, worth knowing. If you're in the market for a tripod, that's the kind of service you get from that company. I've got a shot lined up here. What I've got is one corner of the scene is all the big cascade. We've got a big cascade coming down and a rush of water running down the left-hand side of the frame at an angle. And then there's some little trickles coming down on the right-hand side of the frame with all that green algae growing on the rocks. So I'm going to do my first shot with a circular polarizer and a 10-stop ND filter. My 10 stop is a bit more than 10, and that's going to give me a 30-second exposure, and then I'm going to put in a 6 stop and see what I can get with that. But let's do the 10 stop 30-second exposure first, and we can always see what they look like afterwards. Okay, so I've done one shot at 30 seconds with a 10 stop filter, swapped it out now for the 6 stop, the little stopper. That's giving me 1.6 of a second at f11. So we'll take that one, and then we can, as I say, we can see what they look like later. I've got another shot set up. There's a torrent of water coming down in between two loads of rocks. The rocks have got some lovely green algae on. Shooting at about, let's have a look, 75mm, portrait orientation, f11 circular polarizer, shooting with the 6-stop on first. Okay, 6-stop out, 10-stop in. That's actually giving me 20 seconds. Okay, I've got another shot set up. What I've got is a big rock with water crashing down either side, spilling over the top, coming down behind it. And I'm going to shoot it in a landscape or horizontal format. Again, I'm going to shoot it with a 6-stop filter, which will give me about a 1-second exposure. Then I'm going to put in a 10-stop, see what we get with that. What I'm trying to avoid here is there's some foliage and they've got quite a nasty looking twig sticking in from the side, and I'm trying to avoid having that in the frame. It could look quite interesting. So let's get on with a 1-second exposure with the 6-stop, and then we'll swap in and put in the 10-stop and see what that gives us. Okay, so I've done a shot with a 10-stop filter. That's given me 20 seconds. So I've got another shot lined up now. Got the cascade at the top coming down, and then where the water is hitting the rocks and blasting down, I've got that coming down across the sea again with the rocks with the green algae on. And again, I'm going to shoot this with a 6-stop filter, which will be a 1-second exposure, and with a 10-stop filter, which will be a 20-second exposure, I expect. And then I'll see which one looks the best. One of the great things about this type of photography is you don't have to go wandering around all over the place to get the shots. I've stayed pretty much in the same place. My tripod has moved maybe a few inches from one side to the other, and I've moved the camera around on the tripod for sure. But I've got 4 or 5 compositions already just from doing that. And there's probably a lot more that I could do here, but I don't want to take too many images. Plus, it's really hot today. Quite surprised, it's the 1st of October today for reference, and I'm guessing it's probably about 30 degrees. It's mid-afternoon, the sun's pretty high. I keep taking my hat on and off. I have to have the hat on to protect my head most of the time, but it gets in the way otherwise. Okay, so that's it for today, I think. I could probably hang around here for another hour or so just finding little detailed compositions to take, but partly it's going to get to be a bit of a boring video, I think, if I do too many. Also, it's getting very, very warm. I'm really surprised at how hot it is today. Not only am I very hot, but my camera, the back of my camera is red hot. So I've put it away in the bag. Hopefully it will cool down a little bit in there. And I'll get it back into the car soon and in the air conditioning for the drive home. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or a share, or both. And of course, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment down below. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.